Kurt Schichter is joining me to discuss the miscarriage of justice in the Kate Steinle murder trial and this bogus charge against General Mike Flynn. Joining me now is social satirist extraordinaire and a trial lawyer in California, because I really need to talk about this asinine Kate Steinle verdict, Mr. Kurt Schichter. Kurt, I looked at this verdict last night and I was incredulous. I was out at a dinner meeting. My mind was blown, and it seems to me, and I'm going to come right out and say it, like the prosecution threw the case. Like there were political factors at work that caused the prosecutors in San Francisco to go light on this guy. They hardly, what I'm hearing, they didn't even bring her name up or hardly brought up Kate Steinle's name in their closing arguments. They didn't bring up illegal immigration. The jury wasn't allowed to know about his violent criminal history. What the hell is going on in California?
Oh, well, this was a giant middle finger to all Americans.
Yeah, it really is.
Normal Americans. That's what it was.
Yeah. I mean, I said that this morning to someone here at the Rebel. Yep.
How do you lose a case where you've got a 7-time illegal alien, multiple felon who admits the gun, quote unquote, went off in his hand, and you probably handled Sig Sauers. Have you ever seen a Sig Sauer spontaneously go off in your hand? My
duty gun was a Sig Sauer P226. I have extensive experience with Sig Sauer pistol. I collect them. I own 9 of them. It is a double action initial trigger pull. It is impossible for that gun to go off. You have to, if you want the lighter trigger pull, you know how this works. You're in the military. You have to cock that trigger, that hammer, and you have to engage that trigger. Sig Sauers have internal redundant safeties that prevent, even if that hammer is cocked, prevent the gun from going off accidentally if it's bumped or dropped. So the entire case was bogus, and I don't think the prosecution entered any of that into evidence.
No, and you've got the, Never Trump crew. I read one article from somebody who I genuinely actually like personally. But, trying to explain how, Sig Sauers are responsible for, negligent discharges. There have been 10 in New York over 5 years. And I'm thinking, let's see, 10,000 cops over 5 years, and there's 10 negligent discharges. That's a pretty good rate.
Not only that, can I just tell you?
The key is negligent, right?
Not only that, that's human error. Yeah, that's human error, because I'll tell you a quick side story. When I left the NYPD, I sent my gun to Sig. The NYPD takes guns from Sig Sauer and they convert them to double action only. And they put in a mainspring that makes the trigger pull pretty much impossible for a small guy or a woman. When I sent my gun back to Sig Sauer to have it reconverted back to the way it was intended to be, my trigger pull was 14.5 pounds. That gun wasn't going off accidentally.
No.
All right, but what do you think? Look, this had to be the prosecution not presenting an aggressive case. I mean, this guy had a public defender. He's a dirt poor criminal illegal alien. He's got a public defender. So I think it's twofold. I think you had a prosecution that wasn't aggressive, and you had a jury in San Francisco, that was given a big middle finger to America. Yeah. I don't think they would have convicted this guy if there was video.
No, they wouldn't have. Look, I grew up next to San Francisco. My mom was a district attorney and a judge in the county next to San Francisco. No one is second to my contempt for San Francisco's DAs.
Yeah.
They're a bunch of political hacks. And I have no doubt that they are delighted with this result.
Now legally, what can the DOJ do here, right? Double jeopardy would apply, so they can't try him for murder.
No, they can't try him for murder, and I'm not a big fan of the DOJ coming in after a state court.
Neither am I.
Try somebody. I think that, I'm not willing to throw double jeopardy out the window for this piece of human debris.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of those second bites at the apple myself. I think they fly in the face of the way our system's intended to be. But there's got to be something done for the guy multiply violating our immigration laws multiple times. I mean, he can't just skate on that. This guy can't just walk around now. And if we deport him, he's going to be treated as a hero in Mexico.
Well, of course he is. If any good comes out of this nightmare, it's, first of all, the clarification of what liberals think of us. Our lives are meaningless to them.
Yeah.
Our deaths are acceptable collateral damage in their quest to create an electorate that's more amenable to progressive fascism, for lack of a word. They don't like normal Americans, so they want to import a replacement electorate. It's just that simple.
But you're right. You were saying that the if there's a silver lining in a really dark cloud, it's that this will ultimately crush the left's narrative on DACA, on the Dreamers. I mean, I would hope we could get meaningful immigration legislation passed, and by that I mean building a wall and, if I had it my way, creating a federal deportation force. That isn't going to happen, though, when you still got Jeff Flake, John McCain, Bob Corker, and all these guys that are leaving, when you still got them sitting there for another year. They're not going to do anything. They're going to go hard left now in the other direction.
Well, of course. I mean, right now it's Corker and Flake who are about to stop tax reform.
Yes, they are.
Because they're angry at Trump. Their feelings were hurt, John.
Oh, yeah.
I keep hearing about conservative principles from these never Trump guys. And then it always turns out that the conservative principle is to have a teenage girl hissy fit.
Yeah.
Because Trump was mean to you.
And then side with the Democrats. Really
with the Democrats on
principled
key conservative issues.
Yeah. So, but it's interesting you bring that up, right? Because we'll switch gears now and talk about another trending story, and that's the apparent and imminent, might be happening as we speak, plea deal that Mike Flynn is supposedly going to make on the one charge of lying to federal investigators. Now, the crux of this thing is that he claimed he didn't discuss sanctions with Kislyak, the Russian ambassador. I believe that's who was on the other end of the phone. The FBI said, well, they had wires up. They were up on the conversations, and the conversations indicated he did. Now, I was told by a very, very good source this morning that there was not consensus among the agents, but Andrew McCabe pushed to have Flynn prosecuted. And McCabe and Flynn hate each other. McCabe and Mueller are tight. The entire thing stinks, but it seems very political as well. Why drop the story? Why drop the plea deal and schedule the hearing on the heels of Kate Steinle, of this terrible verdict, on the heels of the Dow hitting 24,000, and on tax reform possibly passing, but for Corker and Flake? That sure seems political to me.
Well, everything about this charade is political. This is another Scooter Libby, Martha Stewart. There was nothing there.
Scooter Libby, yep.
But they managed to get managed to get somebody, maybe lying. This is why you never talk to the FBI. You don't talk to them. Ask for your lawyer. It happens every single time. You don't do something, you're innocent, and then you say something, and it gets twisted into a lie, and suddenly you're jammed up on this. Don't talk to the FBI.
But here, I'm not a lawyer.
Remain silent.
I'm not a lawyer, but here's the way I see this. Mike Flynn was tasked with being the national security advisor. To me, and maybe I'm completely ignorant, I thought I was pretty well versed on this stuff. Wouldn't the national security advisor-elect be the guy who would call the Russian ambassador and discuss what the policies might be? Why is that even remotely improper from a legal standpoint? Wouldn't that be his job?
Yeah, I mean, but again, he's not being prosecuted for that. He's being prosecuted for allegedly.
That's what I'm saying. Why even?
FBI,
why even question him on that? That's my point.
Because they want to get a lie. If they know they can't get you on anything else, they want you to say something that they can make a lie, and then they've got their charge. And
that's the thing, right? I mean, these people, Flynn and Papadopoulos, are pleading guilty to charges that would never have been crimes had Mueller not been appointed. They committed no crimes in the real world. They only committed crimes in Mueller's little special counsel bubble. That is why I despise special counsels. I mean, why have a Department of Justice with
should have fired Mueller months ago.
Months ago. I mean, why do we have a DOJ? Mueller is now the shadow AG, unconfirmed, runs without oversight, does whatever he wants, and is running rampant, has an unlimited budget. Apparently, there's no cap on what he can spend. How can this even be constitutional?
It isn't. And these things have been found unconstitutional before. Look, this is just the deep state fighting back. And the same with the Consumer Finance Protection Board. Yeah. Remember
that was my favorite.
Designed to be completely unaccountable to any elected official. That's crazy.
Not only that, the lawsuit. Thank God the judge.
This is a republic.
Yeah, thank God the judge tossed it. I mean, you have an executive branch appointee saying that the president can't hire and fire executive branch appointees. I mean, this is mind-blowingly asinine stuff.
Well, it was a Trump appointee was the judge. That's the important.
Thank God.
If you have judges who will uphold this, and you will, because they don't care about the Constitution, they only care about liberal power. The only thing that matters to liberals is liberal power. And the only thing that matters to never Trumpers is selling out, cruise cabins on the Lido deck.
He's doing a good job. Exactly. Bill Crystal on the Lido deck. He's going to be singing show tunes with Marv Albert soon up there. but I am encouraged about the judges. Down here in South Florida, in the Southern District, we have 5 judicial vacancies, and the list went up yesterday or the night before of the 10 who the vetting committee, what is the Judicial Nominating Committee, the JNC, sent up to the president. Unfortunately, it has to go past Marco Rubio first, but I happen to know 2 of them. I know very well the only woman, and she's hardcore. She was a national security prosecutor at DOJ. She's a conservative. I was really happy to see that some of the names they sent up to the president.
Yeah, I mean, I think Donald Trump is doing a great job with his judicial appointments. I think once he gets rid of Rex Tillerson, he can start doing a great job with his State Department appointments. Yeah, I'd like him to get rid of Sessions and do a great job at the DOJ. Really, if Sessions leaves and he can put in, somebody normal, that guy can fire Mueller.
I'd like to see Ron DeSantis, and the reason I'd like to see Ron DeSantis, number one, he's a hardcore guy. He was a JAG officer with Joint Special Operations Command down here in Florida. More importantly, though, I like how he called out Paul Ryan. Basically said, I wanted to investigate all these people. Paul Ryan wouldn't let me. That guy would be a powerful attorney general.
Oh, Paul Ryan is just the worst.
He is absolutely the worst. So what's next, Kirk? Because we're running out of time. Do you have give us a hint into where your mind is for your next town hall column?
I think I'm going to revisit our friends at Never Trump and talk about how a principle is so pliable when it applies to these guys. How they can lecture us about principles, and then as soon as it comes to putting them into effect, suddenly they're AWOL. They're gone. They're absent without leave. It's over. They're done.
Ah, you torture me. You torture me. I can't wait to read these things. Anyway, my friend, thanks for being here. Have a great weekend.
Hey, thanks for having me.
You got it, brother. If you like these interviews, please subscribe to our premium service at www.therebel.media/shows. Thanks so much for watching. I'll be back with you on Monday. Have a great weekend.